Carnitas! Alright, I'm going to start with a little bit of high heat oil over medium heat, and then sprinkle a good amount of ground cumin seed in there. Essentially, we're just sort of frying and toasting the spice right here, which is going to get you a lot more flavor. Add a couple of bay leaves in there, and the same idea here, we're flavoring that oil because a lot of the flavor from spices will be better released in oil than in water. So just fry those for 30 seconds or so, and then I happen to have some dry guajillos, so I threw one of those in there. I'm going to toast it a little bit in the oil. Totally optional, you can skip that if you don't have one. Then I'm using a big old chunk of pork butt, bone in. You just want something with a lot of fat because we're going to cook this for quite a long time, and you don't want it to be dried out too much by the end of the cooking. Along with that, I add an onion and an orange, followed by a few whole cloves of garlic. No need to peel them. They're going to cook for so long you'll get the flavor out of them, and then we'll just take them out at the end. Now, if you really wanted to go all out, you would basically cook this in lard. Basically be like confitting this whole pork shoulder. I just never have that much lard lying around, and this is a little bit more approachable for more people, but it's also not as good. So just bring that up to a simmer, cover it, and then we're going to go into a 300-degree oven for 3 to 4 hours. By then, it should be super tender and shreddable. So it really only takes a few minutes of work up front, and then it's almost entirely hands-off until it's done cooking. Then you can remove the pork from the pot. I like to eat the onions in there. They're total mush, but they taste good when you cook it up later on. So once it's cool enough to handle, just go ahead and shred away. Now, since I didn't cook this in a whole bunch of fat, I'm going to skim a little bit of the rendered fat from the broth that it cooked in and just mix that in with the meat. If you had confit this in a bunch of lard, you would definitely not need to do that. Now, add a little bit of salt, and these are good to go either now or saved for another day. So up to this point, the pork is just sort of mushy and not that exciting, but this is where the magic happens. So heat up a cast iron skillet or carbon steel pan with just a little bit of oil. There's quite a bit of fat in here, so you don't need to do too much. And then pile in as much pork as you're going to eat. Mine looks kind of solid here because I cooked this the day before and I'm making tacos the night afterwards. So we're going on medium-high heat. Just spread it out into a nice layer and then just don't touch it for several minutes. We're going to get this super crispy on the bottom. After a few minutes, we're going to start scraping it off and checking for some nice crust. Then we'll just sort of leave it again and just do that until it's as crisp as you want. Now just taste it, adjust the seasoning, and you're good to go. I keep these tacos pretty simple with a tomatillo salsa that I make. I'll link to a video of that up here, and then just a little bit of diced onion and cilantro and lime juice. Hope you eat something good today.